Solely Luna Inspirations with Dayana Robinson and Martin Comtois. This is the Scorpio new moon solar eclipse of Tuesday, October 25th, 2022 at 3:49 a.m. This is a Scorpio new moon, so we're facing the darkness within. How you doing, Dayana?
I'm doing all right. I'm excited for this little shift and playing that out.
Yes, we're trying something new. I'm relinquishing control. She's got the controls now, so this is going to be easier for me. So we have a Scorpio new moon. First of all, I wanted to thank everybody. This was our best 3 months so far since the channel has been started 2 years ago. We got a bunch of new subscribers. We're up to 418 now. Please press the subscribe button. Please comment, ask questions, press the like button. The more you engage, the more it helps us grow. So thank you again for supporting us. It's exciting, huh? You were saying that how many people at your work have been following the channel and be commenting on it. That's exciting.
Yeah, I don't know my work, but it's always interesting every time I go to a social gathering how many more of you guys I get to see every time, and I love it. And I'm always welcome to your feedback on here or in person. So yeah. You're
a lot more social than I am, I guess, huh? But it's really been exciting to grow this channel together and to do this Soli Luna with you, my dear. So Scorpio new moon. So on the 23rd, the sun enters Scorpio. It's going to enter Scorpio in conjunction with Venus. They move in together, and then the moon will join them on the 25th in the middle of the night to create a sun, Venus, moon, triple conjunctions in Scorpio. So what is Scorpio about? You know, Scorpio is that time in the evolution of the year where we have to confront the reality of the shadow, where we have to confront the reality of death, of the meaning of death, the meaning of the shadow. Scorpio digs. You know, the Scorpio is a very with a stinger and is you know, it's a chthonic animal that belongs to the great mother, and it has a very important place in myth. And so the Scorpio, about death and rebirth, about the engagement with understanding that there's another world and that there's a shadow. So Scorpio, it comes at the year in the that time of the year in the northern hemisphere, where we're coming to the Day of the Dead, Halloween, and then we're coming to Samhain, and then we're coming into the dark quarter of the year from Samhain to the beginning of February. Those, you know, so the beginning of November to the beginning of February, that's the 3 darkest months of the year. So we're entering into the dark quarter of the year, and that encourages us to face the darkness within. Eclipse seasons are really important. You want to show the slide?
Yeah.
So that. So the eclipse, so an eclipse is when the purple is the Earth and its orbit. Then the umbra is where the eclipse is full. So in a solar eclipse, not as many people see it. The lunar eclipse, larger portions of the Earth see it, but within you know, within that circle there, the umbra, it's a full solar eclipse. Here, because it's going to be in the middle of the night, then we're not going to see it at all, because it'll be obviously becoming the middle of the night. So, so in that sense, we won't be able to see it. But So what are eclipse seasons and what does it mean? You know, so we have the sun, the moon, and the earth in exact alignment like that. So then we have a reboot of energy. Eclipse seasons are very important times in the course of the year where the energies are the gravity of between the sun, the moon, and the earth gets a reboot, a recharge. And so I like to compare those to kind of signposts on the highway of life. You know, they tell us how far we've gone, how far we've gone, we have yet to go. So very important times to get adjusted to what is going on next in our lives. So this particular Scorpio new moon, we have the solar eclipse facing the darkness within. So we have a sun, moon, Venus exact conjunction in Scorpio. We have an air grand trine with Mars, Saturn, and Mercury. And then we have Mars in the 10th as the ruler of the new moon. So Scorpio is ruled by Mars. Mars is in the 10th house is Mercury, and Mars is about to turn retrograde. And so, and then it's the tip of that grand trine, Aries. So an air grand trine with Mars, Mercury, and Saturn, intense communication, intense energy. And with Mars being in Gemini, you know, things have been moving really fast. But now Mars is about to turn retrograde. So I think that we're going to go into a big review mode, and it's going to be retrograde for quite a while. We'll do the next video we'll do on Mars retrograde, and we'll give you the lowdown on that. Also, key factors, Jupiter's about to re-enter into Pisces. Saturn has just turned direct and now is going to start moving rapidly away from Uranus, or at the end of the Saturn-Uranus square. And then that triad of transformation between Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto is still active. So that's a really powerful time. So we're going to do the chart for you. But how have you been feeling all these energies? You want to get out of share? Okay. You know, we don't do we do these videos live and we don't edit, so it's a little rocky. But I think you like you know, I hope you like our videos, and gradually we're getting better. And I think that it's going to be a good thing to give the control to Dayana. She was mentioning that it's a age thing, isn't it? A generational thing.
Perhaps. I'm also not the most techie person, but here we go.
You're doing great. You're doing great. I'm just feeling much more relaxed. So you know, you work in the public, and so how has this Libra season been for you, and what are you experiencing in this preparation here into moving into Scorpio? A good friend of ours, Anna Sophia, she was saying, I met her at the store this morning, and she said, so how are things going? And I says, well, you know, the sun is about to enter into Scorpio, things are going to change, and we're going to have to face more darkness. And he says, well, she said, well, I'm so happy that we're going to fight. I'm okay with facing darkness. I just want to be going so fast. And that seems to be a real big factor in everybody. It's like breakneck speed, huh? Everything is going so fast. It's so demanding on everybody, huh?
I think it's a huge part of this grand trine, and all the air signs. Our thoughts are so fast, then our action, our Mars, and then Saturn, the discipline to make those thoughts happen. And then the Mercury, the communication of those thoughts, it's really like momentous.
Well, you had the sun, you had the moon, you had Mercury, and you had Venus, all in Libra, then Gemini, Mars, and Saturn, Aquarius. That's a lot of air planet, you know, and so ideas also. I think that we're confronted with a lot of information and ideologies, that Saturn in Aquarius. We did a great video on Saturn. If you want, I will leave you a link at the end. Check it out. It's really important.
I was gonna say also that, like, as you asked the preparation for Scorpio season or how this is going in the public, and I've noticed a lot of when you have all these ideas and thoughts that air signs can bring about, and especially especially Mars and Gemini. The nice thing about Libra is that there's this kind of balancing of the scales and the judgment card, and a lot of people are recognizing what's good for them and what's not, I've been noticing, and that can be really challenging. A lot of interpersonal relationships and communications between friends and businesses and different things. There's a whole new level of communication and boundaries being set and better understandings coming, but not always through an easy means. I feel like that Saturn influence in that trine is really part of that. And I'm hopeful though, because I think that as these things and these kinks and these needs sort themselves out now, people speak better to what their needs are and what their relationship to other is, it can make Scorpio season hopefully a little bit more smoother potentially, and bring out a lot more truth and good versus the things that we fester and don't deal with. Then when Scorpio season comes, that extra fire can come and it can be not so smooth.
Well, it's the need to really face the darkness and face the shadow, and that's not easy, So let's look at the chart in more details.
Yeah.
Dayana is gonna, and then we're gonna doodle on the chart here to show you. So that Sun, Venus, and Moon, and then Mercury, and then and so that Sun, Moon, and Venus, we're going to experience what is called a combustion. In traditional astrology, new moons had a bad reputation. There's a burning up of the lunar energy, and then with Venus so close as well, that's liable to be a bit difficult, and we're liable to be really low energy, maybe even a little depressed. We're entering into Scorpio season, and so being really attentive to that, and maybe checking in a little more with our journaling, checking in a little bit more with our practices. Also listening to our dreams, Scorpio. The Scorpio season is a great season for self-work. Great time to check in with an astrologer as well. So then show the grand trine. So that's Mars in Gemini and Saturn in Aquarius, that blue there. So that's that air grand trine, and with Mars getting ready, so Mars has slowed down completely and it's getting ready to turn around. So that's called station retrograde, and it's in the 10th house. So we're 10th house is the house of contribution to the world, so I think a lot of us are really fixed on reviewing retrograde. What do we contribute to the world? And then Saturn, of course, just finished its retrogrades, and it's moving direct now. So we have both Mars and Saturn stationing, almost not moving at all, and changing direction. So there's a big shift of energy. And then Saturn and Uranus are still in square. And then we have the node axis there, the lunar axis, the nodal axis. That's what makes this new moon an eclipse. It's because it's aligned with the nodal axis. The other really important factor is Jupiter. Retrograde is about to re-enter into Pisces, and then it's going to move towards Neptune, and that Jupiter-Neptune conjunction that we saw at the end of this winter is starting to get back into action, and we're going to see, and that's going to be the dominant planetary alignment for the Christmas season. That's liable to be really beautiful and mystical, really a good time to be inspired creatively and spiritually. So that's our chart for this eclipse.
Can we speak to the other two a little bit? Well, not so
Oh,
little.
Chiron. Oh, yeah, sure. Chiron is in
opposition.
opposition to Mercury. Doesn't do much. Goes to Saturn. We saw a lot more Chiron in the last full moon, right? Where Chiron. So now Chiron is a little more quiet. Pluto, of course, is playing that great role. And also, maybe you point out the Pluto, Uranus, Neptune triad of transformation there. You know, that's what we've been talking. I have a video on that as well with Alan. That's really interesting. And this is something that we're going to contend with over the years. And again, Mars is the highest planet in the chart. So lots of information. I feel, you know, that things are moving really fast.
Yeah.
And hopefully things will slow down a little bit here and we get to do some personal time and some better work. I know I was thinking that I should start doing more storytelling, and I was reviewing the story of Cinderella and how significant the story of Cinderella is in terms of doing the work, doing the work, and hoping for the magic slippers,
I saw your little poem about that.
that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Oh,
You can follow me on Facebook too. If you guys do Facebook, I do some writing on there too, and we'll be doing some storytelling. So you have some medicines you want to talk to us about.
Yeah, speaking of slowing down, coming back into our bodies, not much is in Earth right now, Uranus, but Uranus isn't a very grounded thing in itself. There's a little bit of focus here on the body. So as you guys are probably familiar, if you've watched any videos up to now, I like to do the connection between the tissue salts and the astrological signs. Back in the late 17th century, beginning 18th century, there was a huge body of work done understanding tissue salts and how we all have these base 12. And there's been an association that's really pretty on point with the different astrological signs. So for Scorpio, it is tissue salt number 3. That's calcium sulfate. And it's interesting, calcium sulfate is the tissue salt that's really good at helping to draw contamination out of the body. So whether that's sepsis, whether that's abscesses, boils, infections, acne, pimples, any cradle cap, really good for all these things, helping to pull things out. And then I think of like the archetype of Scorpio. There's this drawing of like
the bad blood.
Yeah, getting the bad blood out, and also doing like huge association with magical practice and dark magic sometimes, but also x-ray vision and trying to see through what's going on to like the core of what's really going on.
In your first sentence there, you say Scorpio governs our reproductive and regenerative systems. So Scorpio is known to rule, the reproductive system, so sex, but also death.
Yeah.
And why do sex, and sexual activity and death are ruled by Scorpio? Because really the process of rebirth, we go from death to being reborn through sex, right?
Yeah.
So then this process of transformation, and like the French, they called sex the little death, and so so then there's that, there's that relationship, with the transference of energy that's involved in Scorpio and the sexual activity and the process of death and rebirth. But sorry to interrupt you.
No, I can't talk about Scorpio without getting onto that aspect of things. It's so important. And it is all about death. It's also been associated with the Phoenix, which is all about that archetype we call mythical death and rebirth into a new version of self. And so Scorpio is a great time to have that cleansing of yourself, whether that is through doing the little death or through doing body care. There's also herbs that help to do this with Scorpio. So some of the herbs that help are blessed thistle, blackberry leaves, horseradish, flax, leeks, wormwood, and sarsaparilla. So all these things help to flush out things that are impurities within our system. So flax is really good at getting the bowel structure stronger and moving, and blackberry leaves are really good at tightening and holding the blood strong and getting rid of impurities. And wormwood, for instance, is really good at getting parasites out of the system. So really pushing out that which is not serving you anymore, and
Pushing out which is not serving you anymore. That's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, so if you are dealing with any of these issues and you'd like to work on them, Cal Salt is a really helpful one. This is just a company, Jackson Naturals in Vancouver, but there's a bunch of different people doing dish salts. Find one at your probably local health food store, or work with the herbs that will do a similar type thing.
So let's look at the important dates leading to this. So on the 21st, the Sun-Venus conjunction. On the 23rd, Saturn turns direct, but also Sun enters into Scorpio. So that's on the 24th. Oh, you wrote Sun and Venus ingress into Scorpio. Then on the 25th, we have that Scorpio new moon solar eclipse. 29, Jupiter returns to Pisces, and then the 30th, Mars station retrograde, and Mercury ingress into Scorpio. So it's going to be a busy astrological end of the month there. Be mindful of your energy, you know, be mindful of your energy. Stop the share.
Oh.
Be mindful of your energy. Save your time to really focus on renewal. You know, the Day of the Dead, Halloween is coming up. Samhain is coming up. Month of Scorpio. It's going to start getting cooler. The nights are getting much longer. So good time to get your system reinforced to prepare for winter, because it's liable to be challenging for all of us, for all our systems. And so you were mentioning how many people that you're seeing that are not doing well physically and spiritually, huh?
Yeah, there's been I've noticed a lot of like mental taxing in the people in the public the last couple of weeks, and a lot of bladder stuff, which I'm not surprised by because the bladder is ruled by Libra and it tends to be a time where more bladder issues happen. So taking good care of your water intake and all of that comes with it, but also our communication is really key. And now that we've had probably a lot of, I'm trusting you've had your time of communicating and networking with the other, which is Libra's theme, there'll be a need for that, bringing it in regenerative quality that Scorpio can bring as you do your side of that work again.
Beautiful. So thanks for joining us. I hope you liked this video. I think that it went pretty smooth. We keep getting better. We'll talk to you guys soon. If you're interested in connecting with us, here's Spirit of the Times 108@gmail.com is my address. And then you got daybydayhealing@gmail.com. We're the healer and the dreamer astrology, astrology, dreams, and Jung. This is MC Starman with Dayana Robinson.
Woo-hoo.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Much love.
Stop the recording. Stop the recording. Whoa. And